Hello everyone, welcome to this live stream. Wherever you're watching, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, welcome. I am so excited today to talk to some lovely women who are in the Creative Sanctuary. So this live stream isn't just about stories, it's about transformation, what God has done in their lives. And today we're going to hear about some incredible women who've said yes to coming to the Creative Sanctuary. But I believe that their voices will encourage, will uplift and inspire you. Whether you're already inside the Creative Sanctuary or whether you're just peeking on the edges and you're thinking, oh yes, I'd like to join. Just to remind you that the doors close on Monday the 30th at 11:57 p.m. UK time. So there are only a few more days left for you to join at this founding member rate. But I wanted to do this live stream because so often we feel that we're walking through life challenges alone, but inside this sacred space we're not alone. The Creative Sanctuary was never just about art journaling or pretty pages. I love those things too, and I don't get me wrong, but it was like birthed out of a bigger vision, a God vision, a vision that God placed on my heart. I want to create that global movement of women like you who want to reconnect with God through their creativity. Women who are rediscovering their voice, rediscovering their value, their purpose, and their God-given identity. And women who are laying down perfection, performance, and picking up their brushes to express their love for God in whatever way. My brushes must be pastels, whatever medium it is. But through that, they are rediscovering that relationship with God in a creative way. They're discovering their peace, their purpose, and just a different way of praying with God. So this is more than about art. It's about healing. It's about belonging. It's about becoming and coming together. So I'm really excited to share this big vision with you, to see these women across the world, and they are across the world. We've got women in America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, across Europe and UK. So I'd love to invite you to wherever your sketchbook is, that it becomes your sanctuary and your art becomes a place where you connect with God in this special place. So grab yourself a cuppa, settle in, and let's dive into these beautiful stories with these amazing women. So first of all, I want to bring on Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Bev. Hello, everyone.
Welcome. I'm just so excited to have you here on this live stream, and tell me a little bit about yourself, about your relationship with Jesus, and about how you use creativity and why you came into the Creative Sanctuary.
Certainly. Well, I'm Karen. I'm from just outside of Melbourne in Australia, and I work for one of the local churches here in our not-for-profit outreach area, which I love, connecting with community people that aren't necessarily part of the Christian faith as yet. And so being able to share with them sort of love and kindness through what we do is something that really excites me. My Christian walk, I didn't become a Christian actually until I was in my mid-30s. It wasn't until my children were they were quite young, and a local church started up in their school gymnasium. and it sounded interesting, and I went along to the first service there, and never stopped. It was incredible. I have known of God all my life, and I can look back on that throughout my life prior to giving my life to Jesus. But I can look back on that and clearly see where God has worked in my life. But it wasn't until, as I say, into my 30s, and then as the years have gone on, I'm in my mid-60s now, and that I knew that, you know, God had his hand on me right the way through. So interesting journey, a lot of changes made in my life, in our life as a family. My husband, a little after me, also became a Christian, and so you know, there were a lot of things, life changes for us that happened there. And I guess those life changes over the 30 years have continued to change. My husband passed away having had brain cancer 3 years ago, and so that sort of rocked our world as a family. And but we've had to rely on God during that time. And not lose the faith, although I have questioned God continually as to why, because there were so many things that we still believed God had for us to serve and work in. But I guess I'll find out those answers one day. So I guess it's been interesting over that 3 years that a lot of things have come out of it. One of the things that has come out of that time is that I have been formally diagnosed with what we out here now call ADHD, but ADHD. And one of the things in having been diagnosed in that is that I've found a freedom through that diagnosis and an answer to a lot of questions that I've had throughout my life. But one of those things is I struggle with sitting down and reading for any length of time due to a lack of concentration. And so I find that creativity in lots of forms is how I can express myself. I tend to be, I don't know, people say I'm out of the box thinker. I'm an out of the box personality. Generally, I'm a very colourful person. I've just noticed I'm very black and white today, other than my glasses. Even my hair's I have coloured hair and I have coloured glasses, and yeah, so it's just me. And so being able to channel creatively through journaling and drawing and painting is a way that I feel I can express myself to God, and I guess that's where my love for journaling and art media and things like that have started. I'm not good at it in particular. I'm not a great painter or drawer or any of that, but I just find it is such a wonderful way for me to put my thoughts, whether they be good or bad or mad or whatever, on paper. And so so that's sort of how that's how I've sort of started getting involved with Creative Sanctuary. I love community. And I think it's important, particularly these days, that we have a community for women to be able to express themselves. Not everyone has those opportunities, even in our day-to-day walk. We seem these days to have less and less friends, close friends, friends that we can depend on all the time and that we can speak to. And I've found that a community like this is somewhere where that can happen. And it's not just, being like a keyboard warrior sort of thing. Oh, I can share anything because I'm behind a screen. The people in the sanctuary, the women in the sanctuary are genuine. There's interest. There is this desire to be able to sort of come alongside each other, pray for each other, support each other, regardless of where we are in the world, where we are in our Christian walk. There's that that inspiration. I love that we can sort of together we can learn and study. We can share, inspire.
Yeah, I mean,
that we can grow creatively in the word. Through
grow creatively, and that grow as a community. And I was just thinking about how vulnerability is something that is one of my core values, in that, I just want to be real. I don't want to kind of like have this churchy face on, that I've got to put on my Sunday best. And,
yes.
if I'm feeling really awful. And I think one of the things I connected with you about was the ADHD side of things.
Mm-hmm.
That when I go to church, I can't sit still and just listen to a sermon and take it in. I have to be doing something creative. And so when you're in in a workshop with us, we have a live monthly workshop, and we just had one on the 21st. What did you feel you got out of that workshop, the Paint Peace with God workshop?
As I say, that connection with God, with the with God's word. As I say, with my ADHD, and as Bev said, I don't always feel that I take in what I hear the first time. I'm one of these people that at church I have an A4 diary that has a full 2 pages for Sundays, and so I take notes, but I sketch in that too. I draw little pictures, and I just find that for me that enables me to take it in, and the session that we had the other day, we talked about somewhere that was we were talking about peace and being able to just slow down and hear what God's saying. And I guess for me, that's where when I have some paint on the end of a brush, I can hear God through those colours and the movement of what I'm drawing or painting. I think too that this slowing down and pausing, being able to stop and care for ourselves as much as we can. We just spend so much of our time sort of running around after, well, we appear so many, running around after others and caring for other people and making sure we're doing the right things, and that's all good and necessary in most situations, but it tends to be ourselves that are left until last, and that's often where we get that burnout or that tiredness, and so it's really taking time to find a way to be able to connect. And I think, as I said, painting, the words from that for me just flow. I'm able to hear God speak through that. It's a great opportunity.
It is, yeah, it is, and you have to make time for it, haven't you? I mean, this morning I got my paintbrush out and I was just doing they're just squiggles with a paintbrush, and I just felt God saying, I was just saying to God, I don't know where I'm going. I'm trusting that you're going to find me the way. And as I was saying, I just could sense him saying, but I am the way. And then, yeah, of course, and words like, let him lead you the right way, because I think we get distracted. Maybe it might be my ADHD brain, but we get distracted along the way, and we go this way and that way, and we, and this picture of me just painting squiggles on a page. It spoke to me as well. It's like, I get distracted with the next shiny object or the next way of doing something, and God is saying, I am the way. I will show you the way. You just have to trust me and let me lead you.
Also, in that, we're also very we dictate so much of that. So even when we're trying to be, with doing any sort of media, it's, we're sort of saying, well, this is the picture that I want to draw, and this is the, so this is how I'm going to paint, and this is how. And one of the things that Bev has encouraged me to do is let it go. I think everyone's got the song in their head now. But let it flow. And I'm finding more and more that I'm allowing myself to almost paint or draw or colour without my own direction, that I'm allowing God to direct my hand more or my mind more, because of that. Because as I said, I love to Bible journal, and am in a group, a large group online that does that. But again, when I do that, I'm very much, I follow the instructions or follow the sort of things. So I'm still directing. I tend, whereas with the Creative Sanctuary, I've started to step out of that and, use my own colours and use my own thoughts. And it is an interesting journey as I'm going along, and I'm really loving it. The encouragement and
I think what Jay says here, such a freeing feeling to let spirit to be present in the creative process and follow the spirit. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Jay? It's just I know that, like this morning, for instance, I had these jelly print. I've just got one of those jelly plates, and I was just experimenting with it. I don't know what the heck I'm doing with it, but anyway, I had these beautiful prints that had turquoise and dark greens and some golds and things like that. And really, really beautiful. And then dried. And then I thought to myself, what am I going to do with it? And I just felt God say, tear them up. And I thought, okay. So as I tore them up, I stuck them back onto my journal page, but obviously there are cracks on the page because they don't all line up. And I'd found some paper that was from a candle wrapping paper, I think, which it looked a bit like a Mandela kind of wrapping paper, and I tore that up and I stuck that in, and as I was doing that process of tearing bits up and putting it together on a page, you know, it just reminded me that God sort of takes our brokenness and he puts it all together and he
Very
uses
much.
it. And then as I added inks in the cracks, because I had these gorgeous sort of acrylic inks, yellow and blue and green and all the sort of things, sort of, I put them in the cracks, and it just came alive, you know, this what looked like just a mess on a page, just brought a smile to my face. And I
Yeah.
think what God wants to see, he wants to see us smile at our creation, because that's how he looks at us, you know. He looks
Absolutely.
at creation and he smiles and
Mm.
he thinks, you know, yeah, she's wonderfully made.
Yes.
So yeah, so thank you for sharing that, and
My pleasure.
it's lovely having you in the Creative Sanctuary. So I'm going to bring on Gailey now. Just to say that Karen is from Australia and so is Gailey.
Well, Gailey lives in Australia.
Sorry, yes, you live in Australia.
Yes, I'll say that. Gailey lives in Australia, but she's got a very different accent to Karen because she was brought up for the first 12 years of her life in Scotland, in Glasgow, Scotland. And I've lived the rest of my life here I lived in Melbourne until 7 years ago, and we moved north to Sapphire Beach, which is New South Wales. And when Karen was talking, I just wrote words and words and words. My mind was just going all over the place.
Yeah, so Gailey, you're in Australia, but obviously from Scotland, and you haven't lost your accent, which is amazing. And
which is a bit, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your Christian journey and how creativity plays a part in that.
Well, I was taken to Sunday school. I was brought up in a home where my mother was a Christian, but she didn't feel good enough to go to church. She'd been ill. My father had been ill with TB, and they didn't feel they could go to church. So I was taken to Sunday school. And then we moved out to Australia when I was 12. And I'd always loved Jesus and followed Jesus. And when we came out to Australia, I joined the Salvation Army. My parents, mother didn't want me to because I was an only child. My mother was very insecure and she thought she'd lose me to the Salvation Army out here with no other relatives. And I felt a sense of belonging at the Salvation Army because there was a lot of families and they included me in the things that they did, and they'd take me home for lunch because we lived out in the bush and we had no car. So they would pick me up and take me to church, and then they'd look after me for the day, and I was included. So it was a very lonely time. I don't want to elaborate on that. I really don't know where to go. Anyway, suffice to say that I've been Christian all my life, and I've really been looking for something deeper all my life. In my career, I became a special education teacher. I was a home craft teacher, so I taught arts and crafts. So I've always been interested in crafts. I've always been a bit like Karen. I've always been out there with my eccentricities. I'm an introvert, but when I was doing special education at Melbourne University, someone said to me that I was the most colourful person in the whole course. And I didn't even realize it. So I must have been quite out there. And I still am colorful. Love color, love textures, love color. I love nature. I love where we are here. We're on this, with our house is 7 houses from the sea. We're on a beautiful cove, and we've got mountains and hills behind us. I just love the color and texture and the vibrancy. And I've been, so I did that. But at age 30, just 6 months after we married, I was in a horrific car accident, and I wasn't able to work again because it's severe back injuries and neck injuries. And I was lucky to survive it. So that was when I was 30. At 47, I decided to go back to uni and do postgrad studies in counselling. So I went to Theological College, which was attached to the Melbourne University. And they were great. They supplied comfortable chairs for me. They took my notes. I could present. This was the day before I could work a computer. My husband had a computer business, so we had access to computers with dictation. So I could dictate my notes and present them on tape. And so I graduated at the top of the course, and I was offered a job at the counselling centre. So that was great. And then I ran a counselling centre in Melbourne. Then a few years later, after that, I realized there was something wrong in my own life. I'd always known I hated being on my own. And when I sat down to do something that required visualization, I couldn't visualize. When you go to, I'm not saying if you're doing something in a course and it's an art thing, and people say, visualize this beautiful stream and the countryside and everything, I couldn't visualize. I can't visualize. My mind just is blank. And so my supervisor, when I was taking my caseload to her, when I was counselling, we discovered that there must have been something wrong, some sort of trauma in my life. Long story short, for the last 25 years, I've been in psychotherapy, and 15 of those years have been in psychoanalysis, because it was discovered that there was so much trauma in my infancy that had been blocked, which had blocked my mind. So it blocked a lot of my creativity, and I always thought I couldn't do things. But in the meanwhile, I've always journaled, and I've always done, I'll say, paperwork. I've just recently finished, like this week, finished 2 beautiful journals for friends in America who had babies. So, and mosaics, paper mosaics. So I guess that's my creativity, but I'm rambling a bit here.
Okay, I was going to ask you why you joined the Creative Sanctuary. What do you?
Well, this is what I'm coming to that. I felt at 76, through therapy and through, when I'm not feeling the best thing for me to do is I've got a studio in my garden, which is it's a tropical garden leading onto a lagoon. So I've got French windows. I sit there at my desk looking onto my tropical garden onto a lagoon with palm trees.
Oh, and it sounds idyllic.
Yes, you can all join me one day for a creative retreat. Yeah. So when I'm not feeling the best and everything in here is just blank, I can go in there and I can get my papers out and I can create, and I can be there with the Lord, and He will calm my soul. So that's, and also in that length of time, I've got to know myself in therapy, but I've also been seeking for something all my life spiritually. And I've been from church, my husband and I have been from church to church to church. But at this stage of my life, I've really got into the contemplative Christianity, the quiet contemplation, Richard Rohr, just seeking God in the quietness. So I've set up my room now. I've got rid of most of the stuff that I've been doing over all the years. And I've got my desk. I thought I just want to be with the Lord, get in there, get my Bible out, my journals, my art stuff, and just be in my room with the Lord and get rid of the clutter and just take my time with him and create. And this popped up in a Facebook ad. And I thought, this is what I've been looking for all my life. It's taken me till I'm 76 to get my healing mentally with this fantastic psychotherapist, psychoanalyst I've been working with. And he's encouraged me with my art because he's the curator of the Cunningham Dax art gallery at Melbourne University for people who've got mental disorders. And he's always encouraged me to draw and paint what I've been feeling. So I'm just feeling that what time I've got left, I just want to know the Lord more and more and more. I'm going to start trying. So, and in my creativity, I want to bring the two together. So, yeah. So when I saw your advert, I thought, this is for me. This is God's timing for me. And can I just read you what I wrote this afternoon? Is that making sense?
Please share.
So I sat down this afternoon and I drew a hand. There's a lovely Salvation Army song, I'm in his hands. Whatever the future holds, I'm in his hands. The days I cannot see have all been planned for me. His way is best, you see. I'm in his hands. So I wrote this afternoon, I made an altar in my room. I finished the last project and I feel the time has come for just me and God, to be with him and enjoy his presence and to see what he is showing me to create that I enjoy and refresh me. It's going to be a spiritual spa in part of each day. I need to start create again, liberating my spirit that's been crushed. I will not criticize anything that the dear little girl inside me creates. It will all be beauty, a gift from God, and I will listen to him as I make my heart a creative garden that my Lord can meet me in. That's it. That's me. You there?
So when you join the community and interact in the community, and when you join the live workshops, what do you feel?
I feel connection. I feel accepted. I feel non-judgmental. I feel a non-judgmental community. I can say that I've been seeing a psychiatrist for 25 years. I can say that for 15 years of those I don't remember. I was so ill. And I don't feel I'm going to be rejected.
Oh, I love that, Gailey. I mean, I always wanted a space where I could talk about mental illness, because it's such a taboo subject. We as a family, we have experienced a lot of mental illness. Yeah.
And I've never had a platform to say. I mean, I'm not going to blurt it out to everyone, but in the church, it just wasn't accepted. My husband and I, we've got no family in Australia. We've just got my son and his wife, and they've got a little 4-year-old, and they're busy working full time. So with no supports, with no family supports, and the church left us for dead. So I just wanted a voice. I want a voice.
Yeah, a place where you can feel accepted. And a place where you can feel accepted.
Yes, and say it's okay. It's okay to have a mental illness. It's okay to have breakdowns. It's okay to see a psychiatrist. It's okay to be wounded healers.
Yes. Oh, praise God! Thank you, Gailey, so much for this. and sharing your story. So our last person is also from Glasgow, but she's from obviously the UK, and she couldn't make it today, so she did a video for me, and I'm going to share the video that Pei did today.
My name is Pei Yi, and I'm a family and systemic psychotherapist, also the founder of Rainbow Parenting Practice, where I use therapeutic parenting coaching to help families and parents who are struggling with their teenagers' out-of-control behavior to bring harmony back using my proven methods. And I suppose God has played such an important role in my life since I was 18 years old when I came to know him. And ever since, whether it's about my study, whether it's about my personal life, my relationship with the people around me, with my families, my professional life has improved and significantly. And he has blessed me in so many areas of my life. And this is not to say there's no hardship, because there's always difficult time in life. And I've been through grief. I've been through, I've been bullied. I've been discriminated because of my race and my ethnicity. And I've been unfairly treated, in the corporate world, and so many things have happened. However, God has never failed to deliver me. Nothing has ever harmed me because of his ever presence and his love for me. And this is the part of the story that I don't usually share because of my profession. However, I'm doing this for Beth because I feel like there's more, the message really needs to get out. Like, there are many different ways to connect with God, and there are many different ways to build a relationship with him. And I've known Beth since like 2 years ago when we're doing the podcasting, and I was wanting to go to Beth podcast because I just started my business. And Beth was sharing with me in terms of how she used art to connect with God. And for me, back then, I was like, that was really interesting, but it was a very alien concept for me for me too. And the funny thing is, I also paint, I also do arts, I doodle and I draw, but I don't know, back then I wasn't in the mindset of thinking, right, I want to connect this both. And it's only this year when Bev started her membership, and the first time I saw her launch or the post on social media, I wasn't really like called to do anything. I just say, oh, this is interesting. I'm really glad for Bev that she is doing something about this, and the membership will be amazing. But it's only until a few days later, I saw a post that Bev posted on Facebook, and it's about her drawing and about the scriptures and, how she used arts when she was in the church, how she connected, how she learned to use the method, or not learn to use the method, how she connected God through the creative arts side of things. And that really struck me somehow. I don't know why, and I don't know how, because God works in mysterious way. Maybe it's my time. So that really struck me. And I was like, and I text Bev as well on the Facebook page. I said, God is calling me for this. Right? I was like, something just ran, the bell just ran, the penny just dropped. So then a few days later, of course, life was busy, blah, 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 all the same. I joined anyway in the end because I feel called and I feel like this is my space. And then I went to the first live workshop, and as soon as I entered the space and I heard Bev talking, I was extremely emotional. Really. And that's when I knew actually I'm in a space where I need to be. Because, when you go through life, going to different churches, you just feel, this is not my church. Or that isn't, it's just not right. But as soon as I entered that space, I was extremely emotional. I feel God's presence. I feel like God is telling me, this is your space. This is where you can connect with me using art or using prayers or using whatever creativity you have. And then it just come at the right time. So I was really touched and moved. And Bev is such a wonderful leader. She was leading the session so wonderfully. She was vulnerable, and I really love that about her. And it made me feel like I can be vulnerable too. And as I said earlier, it's really hard to be vulnerable in public, given my profession. So that was really helpful. And then since then, I have been enjoying the connection with God in a different way. Like I can use art when he calls me to go, like, use art to speak to me, and he does. And I really love that about using creativity and using my art to connect with God in a different way. I love the space creative for us. I love the community. I love how we all come together to connect with God, to speak to God through creativity. I love hearing other people's stories in terms of what, you know, they're learning in their life through God, or what God is trying to show them through different ways and through their art as well. And I love being the presence of other Christians. And this is a very valuable space for me. And I hope this space will be yours too.
Oh, that was such a lovely story from Pay. So I feel really blessed to have all these women in the sanctuary, and they are a lot more that I could add to the story bank. But obviously they're all from all different time zones. So some of them, it was too early for them to get to come, especially if you're in America. But I just want to thank all of you for coming today and sharing your story, sharing your creativity, sharing your faith with us. And I want to bless you all, and just to remind you that we have got, let me just share with you, the Creative Sanctuary. Can you all see it here? Hopefully you can all see it. So if you go to creativesoulspace.com/creative sanctuary 144292. I've left the link in the description, but doors are closing, as you can see from the counter at the top there, in about 3 days. So this is your chance. This is a new video I just put up last night about God saying, no, I want you to do a different video. So I did a different video. And we would love to see you in the next co-create sessions and the next workshop that's coming up. And we've got this special workshop in July, which is a Klimt inspired one. You can see the video here. I've created some cards, some prompt cards that go alongside the workshop, and we will be doing that today as well. So in July. So you get the workshop, you get the cards, and we have got a Zoom room ready to have fun in that workshop. So if you want to join us, we can't wait to see you inside the Creative Sanctuary. So until next time, I'm actually going off on holiday to Ireland with my 3 boys, their partners, in a big house in Ireland. So I will be relaxing for a bit, but I look forward to seeing you in the community. So take care, everyone. God bless. Bye for now.